Hernan, I know that you are a busy guy, but we have a camera on us right now, and I was just wondering if you just might join me for a tour of your shop.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love it, my friend. Thank you so much. Here's your microphone. How we
Thank you.
doing?
Good. How are you?
Living a dream, my friend. Well, for the audience watching, you're in for a treat today. We have 14,000 square feet here in Southern California, dozens of machines, over $2 million invested in automation. As you can see, some beautiful blue Matsura machines standing in front of ProShop and Datanomics. What I want to incorporate to you before we even take you on this gorgeous tour is, even though Hernan has invested in $2 million or more, and that's just over the last couple of years in automation, not in total, in the last couple of years, it's important that we understand the information we're receiving as well. We can have all the machines that we want, but if we're not collecting the right data, then what are we really learning anyway? And that's what this walk and talk is going to be about. It's going to be about Ricarte Precision here in Southern California, as well as how you can incorporate these same similar tile setups so that you understand what's going on in your machine shops, as well as you are a leader, a true leader in not just precision, but in understanding what's going on. So Hernan, thank you so much for this. We're standing in front of Datanomics, so let's start with that, shall we?
Absolutely.
What was going through your mind when you made the decision to bring Datanomics into your shop?
Well, Tony, it's a super good intro, because for us, the implementation of technology is an absolute must for us to be alive. As you mentioned, Southern California, very expensive to do business here, but at the same time, we are surrounded by many aerospace, defense, medical companies who are our customers. In order to be successful here, you have to be as efficient as possible. And for us, the only way to do that is through automation and the implementation of technology. Datanomics fit right into that. It was a critical piece of that puzzle, because like you mentioned, we have great automation and technologies, but what information do we need to capture in order to really drive efficiency, drive accountability? And Datanomics does that, because initially when we got these machines, our focus, our objective was to be machining 24/7. And easier said than done. Because as you know, we focus here on prototyping to production, and validating a first article piece takes a lot of engineering, a lot of confirmation, and a lot of standing by the machine, confirming tools and things like that. But once you do validate and you're going into the production mode, you want to continually improve on your machine life, your tooling life, how you're running machine, things like that. Doing that with our guys is good. Doing that in an automated fashion is crucial. So Datanomics, we initially started to use the technology just to let us know if the machine was running or not during the weekends. We run lights out here 24/7. And in order to do that, we need to really determine if our tools are running, the machine's running. There is technology embedded inside of these large pallet systems to let us know that, but for us to get the message on our phone that we have a tooling issue and the machine is down, and all we need to do is to step in, click a couple of buttons, and continue running, is priceless. So that was the initial idea we had for the implementation of machine monitoring with our automated systems.
Well, you've used the word priceless, but I'm actually going to twist that a little bit and say, well, let's come on down to your machine shop like the price is right?
All right.
And I like the statement that you made about from prototyping to production, because and something else that I really like that you've told me off camera is job shop, right? Sometimes job shop feels like the old garages where we're working on cars, where you truly are a precision. I mean, we're talking microns, we're talking tenths. The investment in these machines are obvious. And also, and I know I'm asking and making a lot of statements over and over again, but also the importance of understanding that not just is my machine running, that it has a green light, but what's going on? What tool is taking 12 hours versus the 5 minutes? Which one do I need to maybe focus on in order to reduce that cost? As you've already mentioned, the cost of Southern California, the overhead that goes into real estate here, and I know, guys, I talk a lot, but I like Hernan so much. I like the shop so much. And the importance of understanding that even though we're standing in 14,000 square feet, and before this tour is over, you'll probably mention that we're kind of a modest, small shop, but I would make the discussion, because guys, I don't argue, I would make the discussion that you have incorporated technology where you could have 50 more machines, but you've incorporated to bring it all into one. Now, I know that was a lot to digest, but let's continue on the Datanomics tip of how important it is with your machine shop and how you've decided to be financially responsible and understand where your profit's coming from and where you can find more profitability in the company itself.
Right. Well, you just touched upon that term job shop or machine shop, which I don't like personally.
Right.
As you mentioned, with investments like this, not only here, but in a lot of precision machining businesses, we're doing very complicated parts with extremely tight tolerances, sophisticated machining. We're focusing and investing heavily not only on the machines and the technology, but on the tooling, on good employees, on training. And for me, it's not a job shop, because that makes it sound like a garage, as you mentioned, but it's precision machining, where we add a significant amount of value. And the parts that we're making are going into space, are going into our defense system, are going into medical devices and things like that. So it's critical components that we're making. And in order to do that efficiently and successfully, we need to be smart about our investments.
Yes.
And so Datanomics, again, is a critical piece of the puzzle, because with all of the sophisticated machinery that we have and the tooling and the training, we can get inundated with data that we just don't know how to organize, how to look at. And we always have to prioritize and start with low-hanging fruit. So the low-hanging fruit for us was, are our automated pallet systems running or not? And after we got comfortable with that, we began to dig deeper into what Datanomics has to offer. And that's where we realized, man, we're selling this short, because if we're able to gain as much of the ROI as we have with the automated systems, maybe it makes sense for our 3+2, our lathes, our 3-axis, our wire EDM. And that's where we've shifted and brought Datanomics into the floor, so that it's now part of the culture. And,
I like that.
And being efficient and having not only management appreciating the data and the power of the data, but having all of our employees appreciate and know that it's a tool for them. It's not Big Brother looking over them. It's a tool that they can help drive efficiency on their own and help the company in general.
I like that very much. Now, let's continue to walk. We have a lot to talk about and a lot to see. You have incorporated Datanomics, and I'm going to ask you if you could think of where you believe Datanomics has been the most beneficial for you, a real highlight, but also you decided to move into partnerships with a Pro Shop ERP. Shout out to Paul out there, really a great guy, with the paperless parts as well, with HiQ out there. So you've decided not just to invest in one piece of technology, but you are advancing your shop at such a high rate. You have these monitors everywhere we look around the shop, because you mentioned it's not about Big Brother looking at me. It's about me doing better. It's about me improving. And here at Ricarte Precision, you guys love to amplify the opportunities of your coworkers and employees to really bring out the best in them, as you're always hiring and looking for the best as well.
Right. No, absolutely. So with Datanomics, it is part of the culture, and it helps. We'll go into a bit more detail a little bit later, but it is part of the Gemba walk. So when we do our Gemba walks in the morning, our operations manager, our production coordinators, and that come over here, and all of our machinists will have Pro Shop open and Datanomics open, so that we can do a comparison basically of what we had estimated the job to take in cycle time setup and what it really does take, because Datanomics goes deep, and it's automatically doing this for us. No one is behind the scenes spending time putting additional data in there, and the fact that Datanomics speaks with Pro Shop is priceless.
Way to segue us in as well with the whole Pro Shop conversation, which will be our next topic of discussion.
Yeah, but Pro Shop is the backbone of what we do here.
I thought you were the backbone here. Is it Pro Shop?
It's absolutely, it's the technology, and it's our partners and our customers that make everything happen. So with regard to Pro Shop, it is a digital ERP system. We did have a good ERP system prior to Pro Shop, It was not digital. It was not created or designed by ex machine shop owners. So really, the foundation of Pro Shop, the way we see it, is that, you know, the founders, Paul, Kelsey, and all those guys ran a machine shop. They understand and appreciate the pain that we go through with regard to all the dynamics we have to involve ourselves with the machines, with the employees, with the customers, with the tooling, with the material, with everything that goes on. And the fact that it's digital allows us to work real time, have multiple team members attack a job at the same time by leaving all of the historical data and accessibility, you know, throughout the shop. So when we come in and get our PO done, and we do our contract reviews, and the programmers look at things, quality looks at things, by the time it gets to the machinist will open up his screen, and he should have everything he needs, because digitally they have access to not only the drawings, but they have access to tool list, work instructions, previous setup pictures, and all of that information. So nobody in the shop can say, I didn't know, nobody told me. Everyone is held accountable for what they're working on, because what we absolutely want to avoid is having a setup machinist or a machinist come to the machine and have to walk away and look for a tool, have to walk away and talk to someone else in order to get started. So Pro Shop for us drives accountability and drives efficiency. And the fact that Pro Shop and Datanomics speak to one another is an incredibly strong and powerful tool for us.
So as we continue to walk, Hernan, and you've mentioned now Datanomics and Pro Shop, I like the part that you said that they come from a machine shop environment.
Right.
Would you make the discussion that that's really the difference, that's really the amplifier, that really what set Pro Shop ERP apart is knowing that they've worked in a shop, they've seen the potential failures, they've seen where they need to find out more information, and then they've implemented that knowledge into the Pro Shop ERP system. And I just want to say, man, back in 2000 when I started my machine shop career, we had papers everywhere.
Yeah.
Where was this?
Yeah.
Paul, we love you, man. Where was this back in 2000 when I was spilling coolant on paperwork and it got lost, or misplacing the paperwork, or misquoting, which we're going to talk about in a little bit as well. Do you think that's kind of the difference when it comes to Pro Shop and why you like it?
Yes, I think the fact that the founders and the creators came from a machine shop environment is an absolute must, and that leads to their ability to continue improving, continue adding features, and listening to the customers.
Ooh, listening, how important is that?
Incredibly important. I mean, for us, listening to our employees, the guys that are focused on the machining, that have the real knowledge, you know, the real value are the people, right? The real value here, yes, the technology helps us, the automation helps us, but if we're not keeping our employees engaged and it's not part of our culture, we just have a lot of pretty colors around this machine shop. So the fact that Pro Shop founders came from a machine shop environment, and that they continue listening to their customers and building on that system is incredibly important, as is the digitization. In a way, from my perspective, it's sort of like looking at where we were with machining back in the 80s, where we transitioned from manual to CNC. Digital is what we're focusing on. You just mentioned papers. I mean, you look around the shop now, minimal paperwork. And that's the way we want to keep it, because papers can get lost, it can get confusing. It requires people to walk up to other people and interrupt them, which we hate. And instead of interrupting one another, everyone has access to Pro Shop, access to Datanomics, access to paperless, high QA, and all the other technologies, which allows us to give everyone access and ownership of what they're working on.
I, as a person who would want to work with Ricarte Precision, let me just say that in what you do, the fact that you allow people the ownership is something that I've had missing at a couple of my previous manufacturing shops that I used to work in. So very, very cool. Let's continue to walk as well. And I think that's a perfect segue, as I don't see a whole lot of paper around, that you're also working with paperless.
Right.
And last time I asked you, what has paperless done for you, and we were off camera, your immediate response with big eyes was Dude, let me tell you what paperless has done.
Right.
And just for the audience's understanding, Datanomics has been incorporated for about a year, ProShop and paperless for about 2 years.
Correct.
So although there has been significant changes and growth, there is still a ton to learn here at Ricarte. I mean, I believe that you'd agree with that, just because we're constantly diving into the deeper aspects of the quoting, of the understanding. What can I learn from my machines as well? I mean, there's a continuous process about it, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely. So basically, from the moment a customer sends us an RFQ, the digital mechanisms start rolling. You know, so the interaction with the customer is through paperless parts. And for us, paperless parts has just been a dream shift in quoting. Before paperless parts, we would have several folders on our computers, folders with the step files, with the PDFs, with customer specs. We would have emails with OSP vendors, with customers. It was just notes, and it was just looking back on it, it was incredibly inefficient and impractical. Now with paperless parts, everything is in one location digitally. So the interaction amongst us internally when we're quoting is critical. And allowing me and the others that are involved in quoting not having to leave our desks, interrupt someone, and complete a quote is incredibly important. So we have internal chat. We have an incredible viewing system within paperless that we not only use internally to annotate, send in an internal chat, so whoever receives that chat, one click of the button, they get the annotation, know exactly what we're talking about, but we use that same capability with our customers and with our outside processing vendors. Because for us, if we can make the communication and the exchange of information as practical and efficient as possible, not only internally, but with our customers and with our suppliers, we're going to go to the top of the list. And that's what we want to do. You know, we want to be there to help and to be successful together.
Hernan, you're at the top of my list already. Let's continue to walk. Now, paperless parts, you said it's really been a gift. And we talked now about Datanomics and ProShop and paperless. Knowing that you guys started in 1986, almost 40 years at this point, and true growth, you do understand the importance and the changes that were involved in, from manual machining to CNC machining, from working with paper to not working with paper.
Right.
Where do you see, let's bring it kind of all together as we bring in even HiQ as well, where do you see the overall benefits in incorporating every single one of these aspects together as a business owner that has seen the growth and changes of a machine shop, that has invested millions and millions of dollars in automation, who makes some of the tightest tolerance parts on the planet, going into space, going everywhere? Where do you see the group coming together and really being beneficial?
Gosh, you know, they're all interconnected.
Yeah.
And you know, you mentioned, you know, several of our technology partners, and all of them are critical to our success. And that will continue. But without investing heavily in not only the automation and the technology, I would question our future in the next 3 to 5 years. Especially, like we mentioned earlier, in California, where we have to be as efficient as possible in order to be competitive. HiQA is another great technology that we have. It assists greatly in quality. But that's the thing, is that what's wonderful about these digital technologies is that it's not only one section of the company that's benefiting. You know, we're all benefiting. With HiQA, we're able to scan the print, automated bubble printing, PPAP. There's a significant number of features this technology has. And again, here we go, great suppliers working together. So HiQA communicates with ProShop, so we're able to access those bubble prints that were created in HiQA through ProShop. So for our guys, they in a sense see it all one and the same. That when on the floor, and I can maybe show you a machine over here.
Yeah, let's
we've got ProShop is on every single monitor in the shop. And that's what the guys use in order to, access their work instructions, tool list, op details, pictures, setups, and things like that. But we also have paperless parts, the 3D viewer on the machines as well, in order to give our guys a little bit more perspective on what they're up against.
I like that a lot. Now I'm going to ask you, well, I might consider it a personal question, but I have to ask it as we close out this tour and we're in front of this gorgeous Miano machine. Where do you think, now that you've incorporated these technologies, now it's been a year to 2 years, where do you think the amount of knowledge that you thought you knew, the amount of information you thought you were receiving, the amount of tribal knowledge that was actually more there than maybe you thought it was, now that you have these technologies, now that you've applied them for a year or so now, what percentage of information do you think you've now amplified the shop?
Gosh.
I know it's probably hard to quantify, but I'm just really curious because you have done a wonderful job of giving people the opportunity to better themselves, giving your shop the opportunity to see more, and just constantly evolving with the times as we see more and more shops becoming one and more shops disappearing. We have to stay with the automation of the times, and you have done that. And yes, I've made this a bit more long-winded now because I'm giving Hernan the chance to think about how to quantify that question. But do you have any kind of guesses of what that might be and what it's all really done for you here?
Yeah, so, I mean, ROI is super important. We invest a significant amount, compared to the size of the company that we are in technology, both automation and digital technologies. The amount of time we're saving in not only sharing the information real time at any monitor, but also allowing us to bypass, face-to-face interruptions and things like that. In addition, even with Datanomics, for example, that has so much data being pulled out of the machines every second, there's no reason for us to freak out and think, oh my gosh, we're missing out on this data, because we could look at it historically. And the more we study it historically, the more savvy we become in planning out future jobs and shifting and pivoting as we machine parts. So I can't really answer that question, it's never really been posed, but it's an excellent question that all of us need to think about. If we had digital technologies, if we had immediate real-time access to what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, how much more time can we save? How much more people can we free up? Because that's the thing for us. I mentioned a moment ago, but these technologies, this automation, it's all awesome. But if we're not making the best use out of it, shame on us. And if we're not looking into it and really trying to see how some of these technologies can benefit us, shame on us, and I would be very concerned about the future.
Brother, that absolutely brilliant said. I do appreciate that. As we close out the tour, as we close out the conversation, are there any messages you'd like to share based on Ricarte Precision focus? We've talked about really great technologies, but is there anything you'd like to share with people who are watching right now about your company, about what your future looks like, about maybe wanting to hire a few good folks? Any messages that I'd like to give you this time, this spotlight, this pedestal, might we say, for the audience out there?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're not a large company, but we are heavily, we believe in growth through technology. We're scaling through technology, and that means we need to invest heavily in people as well. I think it's very unfortunate that a lot of people work at precision machining companies and are not given the opportunities they deserve. How much more powerful people are with the right technologies and the right training, it's difficult to quantify. And yes, we're always looking for good leaders who are data-driven and who look for growth and opportunities. Because as a company, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for growth and opportunities.
That's very well said, Hernan. For everyone watching, this is Hernan Precision. No, it's not. It's Ricarte Precision. But I'm going to say that one more time because Hernan is the man. But For everyone watching, this is Ricarte Precision. If you're looking for someone to work with, to get your parts done with precision and accuracy, not just a job shop, this is one of the places you can rely on, you can count on. It's obvious that Hernan is invested in the technology that'll bring you success as well. It's not just success for him, it's success for everyone. On behalf of MTDCNC, we appreciate you watching. And if you're looking for a partner company, by all means, give these guys a buzz. Hernan, the last thing I'm going to ask you before we walk off and go get a cup of tea, cup of coffee, cup of water, we've been talking a lot, is what's your website and how can they find out more about you?
Yeah, so our website is Ricarte Precision, RICAURTE Precision, ricarteprecision.com. And anyone can reach us through the website or directly to my email, which is Hernan, HERNAN, at ricarteprecision.com. We love having people over, we love sharing ideas, and and we love connecting.
And that is a wrap. I'm actually going to head right over here with Hernan right now on my original machine I programmed back in the 2000s, the GT75 from Omniterm. But we're done. Cut the cameras. Let's just have a conversation. We're out of here.